All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Abomination Brewing Company, and they are a nomadic brewery that brews out of the 12% Beer Project location in North Haven, Connecticut, and this is their Wandering into the Snow. So they're calling this one a double dry hop, the double IPA with lactose and marshmallows. It comes in at 9.1% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This can is approximately 1 month old. So the last couple of years, Abomination has released during the holiday season 3 different double dry hopped double IPAs with lactose that come in at 9.1% alcohol by volume, but they all have a little bit of a different adjunct added to them. So they released this one, they released their Fog Nog and their Gingerbread Fog. Now, this is brewed with marshmallows. The Fog Nog is brewed with eggnog spices, and the Gingerbread Fog is brewed with gingerbread spices. Now, this is the only 2 of the 3 that I have not reviewed on the channel. The Fog Nog I reviewed back in 2021, and up in the description box, up in the corner, I'll post a link to that video if I remember, but I reviewed that one back in late 2021, and I really enjoyed it. It was kind of like an eggnog milkshake double IPA. I know it sounds weird, and it was hard to process during the review, but it was quite tasty. Then, a couple months later, I reviewed the Gingerbread Fog, but not as a regular beer review. I actually reviewed it as a blind/mystery/whodunit beer review, and I nailed the beer. I actually called out the beer, which is very rare when you're doing a blind beer review, and I was really happy about it, but it was also quite tasty. I will put a link up here as well to that one, so hopefully I remember to do that for both so you can check them out if you want. I really enjoyed both of them. I liked them equally. I think I gave the Gingerbread Fog slightly higher, like a 0.05 higher. It's like a 4.3, and the eggnog, or the Fog Nog a 4.25, but both were really delicious. Now, I haven't picked up this one because those beers were pretty sweet. They kind of mimicked what they were going for. So when I see marshmallows in a beer, I'm just thinking it's going to add to the sweetness. So this doesn't have the spices those beers have. It has marshmallows instead. So I'm kind of worried about the sweetness of this one. But this year I was like, you know what? I haven't reviewed it yet. Let's give it a go. So here we are. And I love the artwork on the can for all of them. It's very simplistic, but gets me in the holiday mood. So I'm using the Grow Brewing Company glass because they are also a nomadic brewery and they got to stick together. So we're going to do a pour here. And I love that I'm spilling beer everywhere because I don't know how to pour beer. But at the same time, I love the fact that I can fit an entire beer into this glass. And that kind of wins me over. So we're going to do a little bit cheap. A little bit of a cheap. So what I like about this, and I'm sure if I would have maybe dug through their Instagram or whatever, I could probably find what hops they use. I could not find it. It's probably something like Citra Mosaic. Now, this looks a bit darker than I remember. This kind of looks like, it doesn't look oxidized. Like, I don't know how it's going to look on camera. It doesn't look oxidized, but this has more of that deep burnt orange. This is kind of like an older school New England IPA where they didn't get quite to like the milky kind of yellow look. So this has almost a 2-finger of a, I'd say cream colored. I wouldn't say cream. I'd say more of like a eggshell white colored head, soap sudsy looking, not really tightly compact bubbles. But yeah, this is murky. This is turbid. And again, it's more of that burnt orange. Hold it up to the light. Yeah, you really can't get anything through it. But at the same time, it doesn't look like, one of your newer school, New England double IPAs, but whatever. Looks can be deceiving. Let's get a nose. Yeah, so this smells fucking great. It smells like the other ones. There's a ton of citrus in this one. There's orange, there's tangerine, there's like red grapefruit, ruby red grapefruit, and the marshmallow, but also lactose is giving me vanilla, so it's coming off as like an orange or tangerine creamsicle. Yeah, I mean, it's creamsicle through and through. There might be a little bit of like a pineapple as well. But here's the thing. You can't really smell sweetness or bitterness, but you can perceive it. And I'm perceiving this to be, it's going to be quite sweet. That marshmallow and that lactose is kicking out an aroma that to me is going to be like, ooh, that might be cloying by the time I get down to the end of it. Yeah, tons of marshmallow, tons of like just sweet marshmallow too. There's nothing else really. It's a lot of citrus, some pineapple, and then marshmallow, lactose, vanilla, just a lot of that sweetness. I'm hoping that the nose is deceiving just like the look because I do feel like this might be too sweet. We'll see. Let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. Yeah. So the flavor's fucking fantastic. Like, I really like the flavor profile. But at that first sip, I'm not gonna be able to finish this. I'll tell you that after that first sip, I am not going to be able to finish this. It is, dude, they released a, so this is basically, I don't know why they don't call it marshmallow fog, because that's what they, on their Instagram, they're like, AKA marshmallow fog when they announce this. I think they go wandering into the snow because, you know, they like the, something is wandering in, you know, they do the wandering into the fog. Instead of calling it like, you know, marshmallow fog, they want to do something different. I get it. But without question, this is more orange creamsicle-esque than their wandering into the fog orange creamsicle, which I did review earlier this year. This is like crazy on the vanilla / marshmallow / lactose. It's just a lot of vanilla. Buying this one's higher side of medium. It's nice, maybe even low full. So I think the other two are a bit thinner than I think they were a bit thinner, like more medium body. So it's a little bit bigger in terms of body. The mouthfeel, it's not super soft. It has like a moderate carbonation, but it is smooth and somewhat creamy. So the mouthfeel and the body are actually nice. The taste though, it's one of those beers I think where I'm not going to have to really get down to the nitty gritty and break it down. Right up front, tons of orange and tangerine. It's juicy. There's a little bit of pith. It's sweet. Passes through. The vanilla hits me about a third of the way, maybe half of the way through the palate. And again, it's not vanilla. It's the marshmallows and the lactose combining to give me the vanilla vibe. And it just turns into an orange tangerine creamsicle, which I love, right? So that carries on to the back of the palate. And I'm loving it at this point. Like it's a fantastic tasting beer because I love orange creamsicles. So that's what it's giving me. There's maybe a little bit of an underlying like pineapple too. However, the last quarter of the palate is where this beer just kind of falls off a cliff for me, and it's because it's too sweet. Yeah, each sip, it's like if you've ever had like a pastry stout or a super sweet, sickly beer, where after a couple sips you start getting, I don't even say the gag reflex because that's not right, but you just it starts to build up on the back of your palate into the throat, and you're like, it's just too much of that, right? That is this beer in a nutshell right now. I'm like 4 sips deep, and it's just kind of sitting in the back of my throat, and it's just sweet. There's no dryness to speak of here. There's no bitterness. It's just orange creamsicle to the end, super sweet. This is, to me, a fantastic tasting beer with zero drinkability for me personally, which is crazy. The gingerbread fog and the fog nog, far superior to this one because of the drinkability. They were sweet, but not, you know, cloying. This is definitely cloying. This might be one of the sweetest beers I've had in a hot minute. I know that sounds crazy, but it's 9.1%. It's marshmallows. It's lactose. It's just over the top, and I had a feeling that it was going to be like that. I think when I picked this up at Premier Gourmet in Amherst, New York, here in the Buffalo area, Kenny, I think I mentioned, I said, oh, I'm going to grab this, and I was like, oh, did you? He's like, oh, I had it. I was like, what did you think? He's like, oh, it's pretty sweet. Yeah, no, I think he undersold that. Like, it's crazy sweet to me. I will say 9.1%, you can't tell. A little bit of a warming in the chest, nothing on the palate. So the pros to this one, and I know this sounds stupid because you would think I'm going to give this a crazy high score based on these 2 positives, or 3 positives. 3 positives. Number 1, the flavor profile, the actual taste of the beer itself is fantastic. It's orange creamsicle / tangerine creamsicle personified. I love that. The body is spot on for what I'm hoping for out of a 9.1% double dry hop double IPA, and it hides the booze quite well at 9.1%. The negatives, the mouthfeel, a bit lacking. There's no real complexity to be had here, even though I didn't think there was going to be. So I guess that's not really negative. It's just it's cloying. It's too sweet. The drinkability is impaired significantly, and it's a beer that I don't like drain pouring beers, but I would imagine when I get down to about half of this glass, I'm probably going to pour out the rest. That doesn't make it a bad beer. It just makes it a beer that I like to call flight beers, or I like to call sharing beers. I want to share this can with 3 other people, maybe 2. 2 would give me 5 1/3 ounces of this. 4 other people would give me 4 ounces. I want 4 to 6 ounces of this. That's what I want out of this beer. And then I'm moving on. In a flight, moving on to something else. Just what it is. Somebody passing by? Is that a car? I don't know if that picked up on camera. Yeah, but it's too sweet. So, rating, I gave those other ones 4.25. I'm going to have to go significantly lower. Now, keep in mind, I've not drain poured this yet, and I don't think it's a bad beer. I just think it's too sweet for me. So, I'm going to try to give this an appropriate rating for what I think when you take in consideration there's 3 big positives and a couple big negatives. So, Wandering into the Snow, the double dry hopped, double IPA with lactose and marshmallows, from Abomination. I'm going to go low 3.75 and go 3.65. So yeah, almost, I mean, basically 3/4 of a point less. Pretty significant. Well, almost like 0.6 of a point less, right? From 4.25 to 3.65. But yeah, those other variants just work for me more. And here's the beauty about this. If you've had this before, or you had all three of them, post a comment section. Did you think this was the best? Did you think this was the worst? What did you prefer out of all three? If you had this one before and you have nothing else to compare it to, let me know what you think about it. I just think this is way too sweet. Price point availability. Abomination, a little bit sideways with the price point here in the Buffalo, New York area. Most places I go, their beers are anywhere from $6 to $8 a can. This was $6.99 a can, $7 a can. I'd never pay that again. I paid it once to try it. Would I pay that for the other two? Probably. If I was in the mood each year and I was like, oh, I want an eggnog milkshake double IPA. Yeah, I'm going to pick up that fog nog at $6.99. Sure. But it is pricey, especially when you're talking about, it's like $25, $26 a 4-pack. Because, most places around here will charge an extra 50, 75 cents a buck if you buy a single. So let's say that in the 4-pack, this is more like $5.99, so it's like $24 a 4-pack. That's still quite steep. But, it is what it is. And availability is Abomination. Wherever you see Abomination, you should see this one at this point. They'll probably be available until the end of the year. And yeah, there's not much more to say about this one other than I'm bummed out that it's too sweet. But based on the ingredients, based on the aroma, and then based on the taste, it's definitely too sweet. And it is what it is. Probably one of the worst beers I've had in the last couple months as far as, picking up something that I'm hoping is good. But at least the other two are good. So that's all I got. So anyway, if you've had this one before, comment section. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.